and coordinated attack. I'd like to combine forces, work this case together.
Arms, drugs, sex trafficking.
If what you're saying is true, it's beyond comprehension.
Looks like we're going for a ride.
We need to win.
There's more to the story.
They're building up to something. We keep fighting
Together.
Later, Jimmy Fallon welcomes Fred Armisen, NBC Tonight.
Water is one of nature's most beautiful and life-sustaining resources. At no fault of their own, many Wisconsin utility customers are facing a shutoff to their water service. This leaves them without the one life-giving resource we all take for granted. And those hardest hit are on fixed incomes, juggling multiple temporary jobs, or those who lost full-time jobs in sectors hardest hit by the pandemic. If someone you care about needs a hand up, your local Wisconsin energy and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home and your water, heat, and power on. If you are in danger of losing your water service, call 833-H2O-WISC, 833-426-9472. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
On our broadcast tonight, a storied program in jeopardy. We'll hear why some are worried about the future of 4-H in Lincoln County. Plus, a local animal rehab center is seeing an uptick in West Nile infections. We'll hear what that means for the animal patients. And a local school district is turning a new leaf in its school forest. We'll hear their plans for the outdoor classroom as their local news starts right now.
Your local news and weather from where you live. News Watch 12 at 10 starts now.
Good evening and welcome to News Watch 12 at 10. I'm Dan Hagan. Lincoln County is facing a budget shortfall, which has forced the county board's finance committee to look at ways to balance the budget, which they are required to do by state law. The current proposal by the finance committee is to cut funding to the UW extension, which supports programs like the county's 4-H clubs. News Watch 12's Kyle Pozorski attended a meeting between 4-H members and the county chairman and has more.
There's a reason we all live here.
That would be right here.
Many questions were raised on Wednesday directed at Lincoln County Board Chairman Don Frisky, who took input about why 4-H families are concerned.
If we are going to start cutting budgets, shouldn't that be all the way across the board?
Brittany Block was one of those who asked Frisky about the proposal to cut funding to the UW extension. We spoke with her prior to the meeting on Sunday.
They have decided to cut the UW Extension program, therefore cutting the 4-H program for the county.
She says if 4-H in Lincoln County went away, it would take away programs which families have come to appreciate for generations.
Almost 300 kids that are a part of this program, from robotics to showing animals here at the fair to many other programs, after-school programs, leadership programs.
She's not alone in her concern over how many Lincoln County youth will be impacted.
I am a third-generation 4-H leader.
Holly Hartwig volunteers in Lincoln County, and she's also an egg teacher in Merrill.
If UW Extension is gone, 4-H is gone in Lincoln County. So unfortunately, we would have to probably go to a different county in order to join 4-H, and obviously we don't want to do that.
At Wednesday night's meeting, 4-H youth spoke about how the program has impacted them in many positive ways.
4-H also teaches people stuff that they can never naturally learn.
And after the meeting, Chairman Frisky said there were many takeaways, but none more impactful than hearing from the kids.
The biggest thing is the commitment that the clubs have to the University of Wisconsin Extension and that they want it to continue.
However, the many reasons parents and youth spoke about does not change the fact that the county has a budget shortfall. This means hard decisions have to be made by the board, which could impact the UW Extension, a partnership the county and UW has had for more than 100 years.
Right now, we're in negotiations with the UW Extension. Okay, so I want to see what they'll accept and what we won't accept and what we can go. I can't go with the contract we currently have.
In total, the county currently allocates more than $200,000 to the UW Extension office. Their proposal cuts all of that out. Next Tuesday at 6 p.m., there will be a full meeting of the Lincoln County Board where there will be another chance for community input. Now let's head over to our weather center. Meteorologist Conrad Sapinski joins us now. Conrad, another pleasant day out there.
It was a very pleasant day outside today, Dan. I was actually driving to work with my windows rolled down. It was a beautiful outside, really warm temperatures across the whole entire state. We had some 70s, even some 80s earlier. Right now, 68 in Rhinelander, a little bit cooler in Eagle River, coming in at 67 degrees. So those are temperatures right now, a little past 10 p.m. So very mild for this time of year all across the state. And those mild temperatures will be sticking around with us through the weekend and into beginning to middle of next week. Take a look at Tuesday, close to 80 degrees before we really cool off starting Thursday. So Thursday is the first day of fall, and Mother Nature really decided to bring in those cooler temperatures right in time for fall. And looking pretty clear right now, partly cloudy across the state, but changes are on the way, folks. More chances of rain showers will be back Saturday night into Sunday, but tonight will continue to cool off into the upper 50s. Dan?
Thanks, Conrad. A local wildlife rehabilitator is seeing an uptick in patients likely suffering from the West Nile virus. Wild Instincts in Rhinelander is finding it in birds like blue jays, crows, and perhaps some raptors as well. They're saying likely West Nile because the tests are not always accurate unless the animals are actively shedding the virus. Some of Wild Instinct's West Nile patients don't make it, while others make a full recovery and are released. The West Nile virus is primarily transmitted through mosquitoes. U.S. Wildlife Services verified that wolves killed a dog in Iron County, Wisconsin. The dog was a blue tick training hound. The attack happened yesterday in the town of Anderson. The DNR is reminding dog owners to exercise caution in wolf-occupied areas. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services announced today that it has received a 5-year grant to prevent suicides in the state. The award is for around $900,000, with similar funding expected for each of the next 4 years. Wisconsin is one of 6 states to receive the grant. The money will be used to reduce deaths in the area of the state with the highest rates of suicide. People experiencing suicidal thoughts can call the 988 Crisis Lifeline. Nicolay College in Rhinelander will be hosting its second annual TEDx event at the end of the month. The intertwined history, background, experiences, and identities of Northwoods residents will be in the spotlight, with the theme of the event being reflections from our Northwoods community. Tickets are $15 and can be purchased online at nicolaycollege.edu/TEDx. A box lunch is included. The event is September 30th. Before the pandemic, the Three Lakes School District purchased a forest lot. And while nothing was being worked on for a while, the district is ramping up efforts to make the space into an outdoor classroom and more. Newswatch 12's Derek Dryfirst has the story.
Right before the pandemic, Three Lakes School District purchased a forest lot to use for school activities, as well as setting up a trap shoot facility for the high school team. And while the pandemic has kept them from working on the forest, now that the restrictions have been lifted, development is back in business.
We're just really excited for the help that our community and our neighbors have given us to get things rolling, and we're excited to get kids out there. You know, gotten a little bit of a taste of what we can do out there last school year, and can't wait to get some facilities out there in terms of parking lot and a little shelter.
The name of the forest was inspired by the 2 towns it resides between, Sugar Camp and Three Lakes.
The name of the school forest property out there is the Camp 3 School Forest. And that was the result of a community-wide naming contest.
While the pandemic restrictions have been frustrating due to not being able to work on the area, it gave the staff a good amount of time to figure out how the space will be used.
That time has allowed teachers to do a good deal of planning and thinking about getting things lined up. So when we get out there and the project starts, I'm confident it's going to be exactly what we need to get started with getting our kids out there.
Soon they will be able to construct a parking lot and other facilities for students to use, and some teachers are excited to get their students outside.
I'm most excited for getting students out there and just exploring the new trails that are being built. You know, exploring what our natural resources here in northern Wisconsin has to offer. There's just so much cool things to see out there.
Reporting in Three Lakes, Derek Dryfirst, Newswatch 12.
A high school soccer game was canceled today, and not because of the weather. That story is the end near for the COVID-19 pandemic. That's After Weather with Conrad right here on Newswatch 12.
This portion of News Watch 12 is brought to you by Furniture and Appliance Mart.
Dear Senator Johnson, living on a fixed income, it's a struggle. I paid into Social Security and Medicare every paycheck. So it was a slap in the face when you voted to weaken Medicare. That would increase out-of-pocket costs. And when you wanted to let Wall Street gamble with Social Security. Senator Johnson, you look out for yourself and your fat cat donors, but have forgotten about us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
Olson Solar Energy would like to thank everyone who has trusted us with their local solar installations. And to those of you still considering solar, give us a call to set up a free evaluation and get your project booked in 2022. Discover the benefits of a lower or no energy bill and take advantage of federal tax credits. The time is now. Go green, save green with Olson Solar Energy. Come see us at our grand opening celebration in Altoona on March 5th.
Oh boy, would you look at that field goal he kicked right there?
That looks fantastic. Boy, it looks like you need to stop at Tomahawk Furniture and Gun.
Furniture and guns?
Now, they've got everything you need at great prices. Recliners, sofas, mattresses.
And guns?
The 2023 Ford F-150 trucks are coming, meaning more ways to haul, tow, go, and do. And with more ways than ever to make it your own. Plus, if you order now, you'll lock in your price and lock in your rate. Do more in a 2023 Ford F-150. Custom order yours today. Lock in 2.9 for 60 and get 500 retail order bonus cash when you order a Ford F-150. Only at your Wisconsin and UP Ford dealers.
Huge auction, Conover, Wisconsin. 2015 Chevy truck, 2011 Jeep Wrangler, light new Mahindra tractor, guns, tools, home contents, and more. Contact Brass and St. Louis Auctions for more details.
Join us for the Fall Cruising Car, Truck, and Bike Show, Saturday, September 17th from 9 to 3 as part of Colorama at the St. Germain Community Park.
Spend the day in Phelps Saturday, September 17th to enjoy all activities at Scarecrow Fest. Free admission, craft fair, music, kids games, food, and wine tasting. Sponsored by Phelps Women's Club.
And welcome back. This is the scene we're going to be seeing very, very soon. Yes, fall is near, and we will see lots of changes in the colors of the trees. Taking a look at our graphic here. So north part of Minnesota is the first place that usually gets those changes coming into the Northwoods and then down towards Milwaukee and Chicago. So fall is right in our doorstep, folks. Cooler temperatures as well. Today, though, whole different story. We really had some beautiful beach weather outside today. Temperatures in the 70s, even some 80s coming up earlier today. 77 in Rhinelander, our average closer to 70, so well above average temperatures today. Really enjoyable weather, and that is going to be sticking around with us for a pretty long time, the next week or so. Right now, we're cooling down into the upper 60s in Rhinelander, 67 in Eagle River, mid-60s in Land O'Lakes, and still a couple of 70s popping up here. It's almost 10:20 p.m., and there are still some 70s outside. Hard to believe, but big changes are on the way. Mostly clear right now, partly cloudy skies moving in later on, becoming mostly cloudy by tomorrow as more chances of showers start to arrive. And that is associated with this right over here. A good amount of rain stretching all the way from the west where those wildfires are. Finally, some relief there, but it is on the lighter end. That will continue to move north and east, and it will finally make it into the Northwoods by tomorrow night, especially by the weekend. I know, bad timing. It's the weekend, and we all want to enjoy those beautiful 70s, but not quite. Mother Nature is throwing a curveball. Couple of showers and thunderstorms cannot be ruled out over the weekend, so we'll keep an eye on that. It's not going to be a big rain event, but still some scattered showers can definitely ruin a couple of plans. And like I mentioned, that wildfire, the smoke we had the last couple of days, it was looking really hazy outside. I was looking at the sun yesterday afternoon. Just looked like we had mostly cloudy skies, even though we were under mostly clear skies. Most of that wildfire is starting to move out. It's going to be lingering in the northeast tonight into tomorrow. So we will be in the clear from that, but then more rain starts to move in. So it's not going to be the nicest weather outside, as our allergy forecast is pretty high. So if you have allergies, be careful for grass and weed, because that will be high for tomorrow. So make sure you take your medicines, as tonight, not so bad. Temperatures well above average, hovering in those upper 50s. Mostly cloudy skies once again sticking around. And our 7-day outlook, brought to you by Northwoods Furniture and Mattress, does show those rain showers and thunderstorms moving out by Monday. And then we start to cool off by Thursday. Dan?
There's good news on the COVID-19 front. The World Health Organization says the end is in sight for the pandemic. New weekly deaths around the world have reached their lowest point since March of 2020. WHO recorded around 11,000 deaths globally last week, a 22% decrease from the previous week. While WHO hasn't declared an end to COVID, they say the world has never been in a better position to end it. They caution that countries should continue testing, treatment, vaccinations, and infection control to continue fighting the virus. There was no action on the soccer field today at Northern Pines High School in Eagle River, and it wasn't because of the weather. The school was forced to cancel today's match against Medford because of a referee shortage. Referees from Bayfield to Plover were contacted, but none were able to cover. This is the first match to be canceled for that reason this season. The next slate of games on Saturday are still on schedule. One of the biggest and most storied football rivalries in northern Wisconsin added another chapter this evening. Coming up on Newswatch 12, Saul Meyer will break down tonight's bell game between Rhinelander and Antigo.
By some measures, our economy is doing great. We've reached the lowest unemployment in state history. We have a record budget surplus. But there's another side, too. Rising prices for groceries, gas, and medications. Folks, that's a problem. That's why I have a plan to cap prescription drug prices, aggressively prosecute price gouging, and cut taxes by another 10% for working families. It's the right thing to do for Wisconsin and our economy.
When I first moved here to Wausau from Madison, downtown was the very first area that I looked at, and I was shocked at the unavailability of housing opportunities that was there.
The mall as it is no longer viable. That has changed. It's changed across the country, and it's our turn to change what we have here into a new vision.
My hope is this is something that the Wausau community comes together to do what they always do, which is unite behind reinvesting in Wausau and making it a great place to live, work, and play.
The light at the end of the tunnel isn't shining so brightly for everyone. Families continue to fight for survival. Some jobs are gone forever. Bills pile up. But please know, you have not been forgotten. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. Apply now for a hand up.
At Batteries Plus, we do more than replace batteries and fix phones and tablets. We help our neighbors power their lives. Need a phone fixed? We got it. Get powered in-store, curbside, and at batteriesplus.com.
Fall is one of our favorite seasons at Trader's. Our boutique is loaded with the latest fall fashion and jewelry. Check out our unique boots, shoes, and purses. Fabulous fall home decor and our adorable grandkids in our baby boutique.
Find something you'll love at Trader's.
Winter's coming. Fight back against rust and protect your investment with Rust Solutions underbody rust proofing for vehicles, trailers, and dump trucks. Call to make your appointment today.
Coming up on your Friday, we'll meet a friend from one of our local humane societies.
All right, chances for showers start to increase as we head towards Friday, with a few thunderstorms possible through the weekend, with better chances Sunday and temperatures in the 70s. More when you tune in on your Friday.
Sports Watch 12 with Saul Myers starts now.
Rock the bells, hell's bells, jingle bells, for whom the bell tolls. What's all this talk about bells? Must mean that we have one of the biggest and oldest rivalries in the Northwoods happening tonight.
It's Rhinelander versus Anago in the Bell game for the 88th time happening tonight on a Thursday, not Friday. And we've got football on Thursday. Let's ride. And here's what it's all about. The Bell with the Rhinelander logo on it, only because they won last year's game 42-0. So what do they say about defense winning championships? Well, how about this? Special teams win rivalry games. Rhinelander blocks the punt on Anago's first drive of the game and takes it to the end zone, and the Hodags are up 7-0 early. However, the Red Robins answered right back with this counter run from Alec Napkovich, and he takes it all the way to tie it up at 7. And what's a rivalry game without a little bit of extracurricular activity? There's a little bit of pushing and shoving after the play. Did someone say bell? How about this one? Ding, ding, ding. Am I right? You know what else rivalry games have? Some physical bruising, hard knocks, old school defense, and we definitely saw that here with big hits, team tackling, bodies flying everywhere. Must be a rivalry game. Here in the second quarter, we already talked about Napkovich. Well, he wasn't done. He took this one all the way to the house to give Anago the lead, and they went on to win this game 26-14. The Bell is heading home to Anago this year. There are only 19 games left in the season for the Brewers, and they have been looking nice lately with a 6-game winning streak before their game with the Cardinals yesterday. Now, it was a tough loss, but they're still in the hunt for that last wild card spot in the NL Central playoffs, or the NL playoffs. They didn't have a game today, so the crew took a breather and had the day off. They had a nice streak going there for a second, sweeping both the Reds and Giants before dropping last night's game to the Cards 4-1, and they will be back in action tomorrow for the start of a 3-game series with the Yankees at home. Is money even real? The most paid item for sports memorabilia was sold today in an auction for a whopping $10.1 million. Michael Jordan's legendary Last Dance jersey from Game 1 of the 1998 NBA Finals has now surpassed the late Diego Maradona's Hand of God jersey from the 1986 World Cup. First, it was Serena Williams, and then it was Sue Bird, and now it's Roger Federer. The Swiss tennis legend announced his retirement earlier today at the age of 41. Federer said that the Laver Cup in London will be his final ATP event and that he won't play in another Grand Slam tournament again. In a statement on his social media, Federer said that he is retiring due to a series of knee operations he endured in the past 3 years. And Roger Federer had such a big impact on my life and was one of my favorite tennis players growing up. So it's really sad to see him go, but I'm kind of glad because those knee injuries were no joke. We'll be right back after the break.
Dear gas prices, my lineup brings serious savings. We got this. Toyota Hybrids.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan.
Toyota, let's go places.
Schools forced to close, falling academic standards, parents told they don't have a say, transgender videos for kindergartners, and books that shame kids just for being white. That's Tony Evers' record on Wisconsin public schools.
As a mom, I have every right to know what my kids are being taught in class. Our schools should teach reading, writing, and math, not crazy liberal ideas.
Tony Evers. Wrong for our kids, wrong for Wisconsin.
You protected our rights, preserved our freedom. You may have even risked your life for us. Now, it's our turn to fight for you. Your local Wisconsin emergency, energy, and housing assistance providers, and the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund reward the service of our veterans with rental and energy support in their time of crisis. Apply today to get the fresh start you've earned.
Discovering the perfect paint for your home has never been easier with Zinsser Smart Coat. Plan smart with interactive tools at smartcoat.com. Buy smart in-store or online for home delivery. And paint smart with this advanced paint and primer in one. Say hello to Zinsser Smart Coat, the next generation of intelligent paint. 11% off at Menards.
Cellcom's live local customer service is just a call or click away, so it's always clear where you can get help. What's not clear is why you just went down to the basement.
What did I?
Why you went downstairs? Unclear. Easy access to the customer care you deserve? Crystal clear. Cellcom. Clarity in a cloudy world. Now at Cellcom, save $500 when you activate a new smartphone line of service and trade in your existing device. Visit cellcom.com/save for details.
Dear gas prices, my lineup brings serious savings. We got this. Toyota Hybrids.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan.
Toyota, let's go places.
What's the biggest concern for you as a voter when considering a candidate? A new poll finds that in Wisconsin, it's gun violence and crime. That's why Republican Senator Ron Johnson and his Democratic opponent, Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, are attacking each other's record on those issues. CNN's Omar Jimenez takes a look to see how that strategy is playing out in the Badger State.
I'll make sure our police have the resources and training they need to keep our community safe.
It's going to reallocate money away from the police department.
In the dead-even Wisconsin Senate race, incumbent Republican Ron Johnson and Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes are engaged in a fierce debate over public safety.
Dangerously liberal on crime.
Our folks statewide are extremely motivated.
Brian Schimming is a conservative political strategist in Wisconsin.
There's a lot of people concerned about their personal safety. It's not just a core city problem. It's on a much larger scale, the awareness of it.
Wisconsin did see a more than 70% jump in homicides from 2019 to 2021, like many states did, red and blue, driven by a number of factors, including the COVID-19 pandemic. In August, Republicans nationwide spent $11 million on ads about crime, but $25 million on ads about inflation. Then, in the first 2 weeks of September, $9 million on inflation, but also now $9 million on crime. And in Wisconsin, jumping on comments made by Lieutenant Governor Barnes weeks after the murder of George Floyd in 2020.
We need to invest more in neighborhood services and programming. Where will that money come from? Well, it can come from over-bloated budgets in police departments.
But he's making clear now that's not what he's running on.
They're claiming on to defund the police and abolish ICE. That's a lie.
While a statewide poll shows crime is a top issue, it still ranks behind inflation when it comes to voter concerns. It also shows Johnson is supported by 97% of Republicans polled and Barnes by 96% of Democrats.
We're talking about less than 200,000 voters who are genuinely torn right now about what they're going to do.
And does that make it difficult to strategize?
This crime and public safety issue is a base motivator for Republicans, but I don't think crime or public safety is going to be the issue that ultimately determines where those 150 to 200,000 swing voters land.
Tom Otto is one of those swing voters, voting Trump and Ron Johnson in 2016, Barnes and Democratic Governor Tony Evers in 2018, then Biden in 2020.
I usually don't make my decision until I'm standing in line getting ready to vote.
While he mentioned crime as a concern, inflation came to mind first.
People I don't think realize how bad it is. Yeah, you come to a farmer's market and it looks wonderful, but how many people can afford it?
Democrats in this swing county are hopeful for a pickup and worry about the alternative.
Do you feel optimistic heading into this election?
No. Fear.
In a deeply polarized state like Wisconsin, both parties are counting on their messaging to persuade voters in the middle and motivate their bases to turn out.
One thing in Wisconsin, Ron Johnson has shown that when he speaks directly to the people in his television advertising, he wins them over.
These crime attacks on Barnes, they might work among Republicans, but I don't see them being a game changer to that middle part of the electorate who this is ultimately going to come down.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Sleep Central on Highway 51 South in Minocqua, your bedding and futon headquarters. We carry the largest selection of name brand mattresses in northern Wisconsin, in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Beautyrest, Sealy, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. We also have a huge selection of accessories to complement your bedding purchase. Sleep Central also carries a wide variety of futons and unique bedroom furniture with quality all-wood construction. Better sleep, pain-free, that's our promise at Sleep Central in Minocqua, your one-stop sleep shop.
These are actual crime scenes across Wisconsin. Yet Mandela Barnes supports defunding the police.
The minute you talk about reducing a police department's budget, then it's like all hell breaks loose, and everybody acts like you're signaling Armageddon. But that's not the case. It's about reallocating funds.
And where did your tax dollars get reallocated to? More police security for Barnes. Mandela Barnes. Less safety for you, more for him. Wisconsin Truth Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At Big Valley Ford, we have a great selection of gently used trucks, SUVs, and cars. And we are ready to help you find the right vehicle to explore the North Woods. Big Valley Ford is passionate about every vehicle that enters our service center, and our team of technicians are here to help with all of your service needs. Whether you are looking for a new or used vehicle or need to get your current ride back on the road, stop into Big Valley Ford in Ewan, Michigan, and experience the Big Valley difference.
There are so many things we take for granted, and along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for granted too. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living? And through no fault of their own, they're being left behind. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy, water, and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
The Socialist Squad led the charge to defund the police and eliminate bail for dangerous felons. Now violent crime is surging in Wisconsin.
More people have been killed in Milwaukee this year than in any previous year.
Mandela Barnes attacked the Kenosha police and incited more violence.
The officer's deadly actions attempted to take a person's life in broad daylight. This felt like some sort of vendetta.
Mandela Barnes, dangerously liberal on crime.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Join us for the Fall Cruising Car, Truck, and Bike Show, Saturday, September 17th from 9 to 3 as part of Colorama at the St. Germain Community Park.
All right, Conrad, Saul, we are approaching fall, and I'm kind of curious, Saul, you're a Texas guy. Do leaves change in Texas?
Leaves change, and so does the temperature, but it's not as cold as it gets here. Okay. Our fall is like 78.
Can we see some cold temperatures soon, Conrad?
Absolutely, Dan. I mean, we're in the last week of summer, and exactly perfect timing. We'll have some really nice warm temperatures, but with that, we'll have some rain. Right now, mostly clear skies, partly cloudy in some parts of the state. We are rain-free right now, but more rain is on the way. Temperatures well above average, 60s, even some 70s popping up there right now. 10:30 p.m., unbelievable, but warm weather will be sticking around with us all the way through Wednesday. Right in time, Thursday is fall, and that is when we're going to really cool down into the 60s.
I'm looking tomorrow with those football games. Hopefully you stay dry. It's a question mark, though. Thanks for joining us on Newswatch 12 at 10. We'll see you tomorrow.
He wants to be a firefighter, a doctor, a teacher, and he wants to be their governor. But Tim Michaels said funding public schools is the definition of insanity.
We're already throwing so much money at education.
He drained millions from public schools to help fund private schools in Milwaukee, and even consider ending the Department of Public Instruction. Tim Michaels wants to be governor for 4 long years. But what matters more to you, his future or theirs?
At Len's Truck, we've made the buying experience fast and easy. All our trucks are guaranteed clean, certified, can be bought hassle-free online, and can be delivered right to your door. It's our way of saying thanks to our past and future customers for the last 35 years. And when you buy a Len's Truck, know that you're buying the best used truck money can buy. Go now to lenstruck.com. You'll find over 800 used trucks, all priced to move. Go now to lenstruck.com.
Len's Truck.
Exciting things call for a drum roll, like this new offer on one of Wisconsin's favorite lotto games. It's Badger 5 Double Jackpot Days. If a jackpot is won, there's a 1 in 2 chance that it doubles. This offer is included with every Badger 5 purchase, only in September. This exciting offer from the Wisconsin Lottery is going fast.
The 2023 Ford F-150 trucks are coming, meaning more ways to haul, tow, go, and do. And with more ways than ever to make it your own. Plus, if you order now, you'll lock in your price and lock in your rate. Do more in a 2023 Ford F-150. Custom order yours today. Lock in 2.9 for $60 and get $500 retail order bonus cash when you order a